Happy Tuesday. Hopefully, everyone's having a glorious Tuesday. It's a nice sunny Tuesday outside in Austin, Texas. And we have Trump news, kind of. I mean, it relates to Trump, but it's not really about Trump, but it is about Trump. You know, I know that's kind of weird how saying it out loud. But, anyways, this is the House Judiciary Committee has sought documents and testimony about Trump's indictment case from Bragg in his office, and Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg is not happy with it. I'm going with Fox. I could have gone with CNN or MSNBC, whatever you want to call it. I mean, the New York Times or the Peacock. But I'm going with Fox. Anyways, I think this is kind of funny because who watches the watchers? I think when you indict a former president, you have to cross your I's and dot your T's to make sure everything's on the uppity up. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg on Tuesday filed a federal lawsuit against Rep. Jim Jordan, alleging that the Republicans lawmaker are trying to wage a campaign of intimidation over his prosecution of former President Donald Trump. He just wants to make sure it's on the uppity up. He wants to make sure you cross your I's and dot your T's. In his lawsuit, the Democratic DA says he's taking legal action in response to unprecedented, brazen, and unconstitutional attacks by the member of Congress on an ongoing New York state criminal prosecution and investigation of former President Donald Trump. Maybe they want to know why you're prosecuting after the FEC says there was no crime. The federal government says there was no crime. Your previous predecessor said that there was no crime, but you found a crime. And they want to know how you came up with the crime. Let's see here. Bragg is asking the judge to invalidate the subpoenas that Jordan, the chair House Judiciary Committee, has plans to issue as part of the investigation of Bragg's handling of Trump case. Chairman Jordan's subpoena is an unconstitutional attempt to undermine an ongoing New York felony criminal prosecution and investigation. Bragg said it is our complaint that details unprecedented legitimate interference by Congress that lacks the legal merit and defies the basic principle of federalism. Look, Alvin Bragg. Look, Alvin Bragg. I know you're a smart person. I know you've been at this job for 20 some odd years. One doesn't just indict a former president. Let's reverse the role. Let's say Trump is in office. And let's say the state of Florida or the state of Texas indicted President Obama on something similar, or Hillary Clinton on something similar. And the Democrats held the House of Representatives. Don't you think they would be doing the exact same thing to make sure that the indictment of a former president is on the uppity up to make sure that you cross your I's and dot your T's? I'm just saying this. He just wants some oversight to make sure it's on the uppity up. Oh, now is this the complaint? I don't know if this is the complaint. Let's capacity. Yeah, this is the 50-page complaint towards Jim Jordan. The Office Manhattan DA office focuses on law and the evidence, not political gamesmanship or threats. We look forward to presenting our case in court and enjoy enforcement of the subpoena. Enjoying the enforcement, or enjoying, yeah, I guess, to dismiss. I guess that's what Alvin is saying. I mean, come on, Fox News. There's no Alvin said or Bragg said here. The case is assigned to the U.S. District Mary Cav, I don't know how to pronounce that name, a Trump appointee who previously served as the federal bankruptcy court judge. In recent weeks, the Judiciary Committee has issued subpoenas seeking testimony from the former prosecutor, Mark Paparazzi, who previously oversaw the Trump investigation. The committee has also brought documents and testimony about the case from Bragg and his office. Bragg has rejected those requests, so the AG Marlin has to press charges against Mr. Bragg for ignoring those requests. I mean, isn't that the standard if you don't come to the subpoena of Congress? You're in contempt of Congress, so therefore you must be charged with the contempt of Congress? Or is that only for Trump loyalists? Or is that only for the GOP and not for Democrats? Reach for comment. Jordan office directed in Fox News Digital to Republicans' Twitter post, which he accused Bragg of indicting Trump for no crime. First, they indict the president for no crime. Then they sued to block congressional oversight when we asked questions about federal funds they said that they used to do it. They say Trump was indicted late last month on 34 felonies, courts falsifying business records related to hush money payments made during the 2016 presidential campaign, to bury allegations that he had an external marital sexual encounter. So this is the claim that they're making. It could have been payments to lawyer Michael Cohen. But he's saying that he falsified the bookkeeping to hide the alleged affair. According to Fox News, according to many sources other than Fox News. I mean, let's see here. Blah, 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 blah. In 2024, a presidential contender has denied wrongdoing and pleaded not guilty at an arraignment in Manhattan last week. House Judiciary Committee is scheduled to hold a hearing in Manhattan on Monday on the crime in New York and what he alleges are Bragg's pro-crime, anti-victim policies. The DA office, however, points to statistics showing that violent crime in Manhattan has dropped since Bragg took office in January 2022, as in that they downplayed the seriousness of each crime. Sure, if you altered, instead of aggravated assault, it's, I don't know, a disturbance of the peace when you get your jaw knocked out under a punch. It's now disturbing the peace, opposed to an actual assault, which makes the violent crime go away on paper. I'm just using that as an example. I mean, I don't know, I've seen a lot of videos in New York where certain people are knocking certain people out. Let's hear, what is the cup? The judge doesn't have the power to overturn a congressional subpoena. A violation of the separation of powers rules would occur if a judge were to attempt that action. Let's hear, Article 3 of the Constitution establishes the judicial branch leaves Congress significant discretion to determine the shape and structure of federal judiciary. Bragg is about on the ropes. And then, of course, you got one of the bad Dems don't care about the law or the Constitution. Hence why the grand jury left out information resolving Trump of all wrongdoing. Just like in Sergeant Perry. Now, I know someone didn't like my video yesterday, which is perfectly fine because I'm making the case that Abbott shouldn't pardon him. But in this particular case, grand juries need to be reformed. Grand juries need to be reformed if you're going to indict someone, that the lawyer of the plaintiff, or as the accused, should be able to interject their own evidence to see if there's actually a crime being committed here. But grand jury, it's just a DA saying, here's my evidence, give me an indictment. Sometimes the indictment gets denied, sometimes the indictment doesn't. But here's the issue. It's all about the DA making the case, presenting what they want to present They could leave out the simple fact that the smoking gun belonged to someone else and that the fingerprints of that gun belonged to someone else, but the smoking gun points to this person, totally bypassing that to convict someone else. And that's the issue with our grand jury, and that's the issue I have with all grand juries, both in New York and in Texas. But yeah, I'm sorry, Alvin Bragg. You are indicting a former president, so you got to expect some level of oversight from the federal government. Jim Jordan just happens to want some oversight to make sure that you cross your I's and dot your T's, to make sure it's on the uppity up. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There'll be nothing wrong if the Democrats were doing that if a Republican city or district attorney brought charges against a Democrat. So I think this is just politics. I think this is just Bragg's trying to intimidate Trump into dropping out of the race or pleading guilty to a lesser crime so they can say that Donald Trump has been convicted on a crime. Do you want to vote for a convicted person opposed to a person, whoever they choose, has no indictments, has no convictions on their records? This is a dirty game. This is a dirty game being played by a dirty DA that's playing dirty politics. So I do think this case is highly politicized. From the information I'm showing is that the statute of limitations for such fraud cases have expired, but the fact that they're making it into a felony, saying that he did it to hide another crime through election fraud of New York, extends it a couple more years, which I think is a stretch. But I guess we'll find out if there's a trial or if Trump lawyers can successfully get the case dismissed with prejudice or just dismissed, period. We'll see. That is yet to be determined. I'm here for the popcorn. That being said, have yourself a wonderful day, morning, or evening.